Okay, I would like to review how to use some of the drawing tools. Now the first one I'm going to use is the cubic Bezier, and the icon for that is right up here. So I click on my icon and I will just start to draw, and I'll click right here to start, and I'll click here. I'm going to click in the middle here, click, and then I'm going to double click right here. There. That's the shape that I made with the cubic Bezier. And I'm going to do the same thing for the polygon, which is right here. I'll click on my icon, and then I'll make the same shape by clicking, 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 clicking. And I'm going to double click right here. There. Now notice a couple of things. The shapes are similar. They were drawn similarly. The cubic Bezier is open. There is no fill. Your polygon, however, is filled with the default color of gray. Now notice the icons. The cubic Bezier icon up here is this squiggle. It is not filled. But your polygon icon is filled. It's filled with green. So your icons, your drawing tool icons up here in the top toolbar are giving you a hint as to what they're going to look like and whether or not they're going to be filled with color. I'm going to do the same thing for the polyline. The polyline icon is right here. And I'm going to click to start it, click, 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 and again I'm going to double click right here. Double clicking ends the drawing. There. So your Polyline tool here and your cubic Bezier tool here look very similar. I will describe the differences in just a second. I want to draw one more tool, which is the pencil tool here. And the pencil tool icon is right here. Same thing. I'm going to click to start drawing, and I'll click here, click, click. Now this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to depress my mouse, and I'm going to keep it depressed as I actually start to draw. And then I'm going to double click right here. There. Do you see that? All right, here are the differences. Again, your cubic Bezier and your polyline are open objects. They don't fill in automatically. And your icons will show that. This is your cubic Bezier icon, and it's open, as is the polyline. Your polygon tool is right here, and it's filled in with green. So that tells you that your polygon tool is going to automatically fill in with color, as was the pencil object here. To finish drawing, double click. Again, with the polygon tool, I double clicked down here and it automatically closed the path. With the pencil tool, you can do the same thing. If you keep your mouse depressed, then you can free-form draw. So those are your major drawing tools. You have your other drawing tools like your square, your rectangle, your circle. But those are your major tools. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a copy of these, and we're going to talk about the differences. If I take the polygon tool, for example, and I can resize it normally by pulling on these handles, and I can make it taller, wider, bigger. But all in all, even if I resize it, the shape is very similar to the shape up here when I resize it by pulling on the handles. But if I go into Edit Points mode, I highlight my object and I go to Edit Points mode right here. Now look, instead of having your normal handles, I get these edit points wherever the line segment changes, to a corner or an angle. And I can move those points and totally reshape that polygon with my edit points. It's a total reshape. Now, I'm still in edit points mode, and I can go to my Polyline tool, and same thing. I can just move those edit points and totally reshape the line. This is very handy when you're drawing like architectural detail, creating the perimeter of a room, or drawing molding, that kind of thing. Same thing with the pencil tool. I will say I don't use the pencil tool that often because I'm not very good at drawing freeform, but some people do use it. But now look at this. Look at all these edit points along that curve. And you can go in and literally pull out edit points and totally reshape that design. Now, let's click on the cubic Bezier. I will say that when I am drawing, I will probably use the cubic Bezier tool most of the time. Why? Because not only can I move these edit points, but look, this is the only tool, the only drawing tool where I can get a curvature. Do you see that? Every edit point has what we call these handles, and by pulling on the handles you can control the amount of curve, and this is how you can reshape designs, whether they are designs that are window treatment designs or architectural detail. It doesn't matter. You can get to the edit points and totally reshape those line segments. With an edit point, you can take any point, and if it's a corner, like a sharp angle, you can make it into a curve, and vice versa. You can make a curve into a sharp angle just by pulling on the handles, these round handles. Now, it does take time and practice to control the amount of curvature here. So don't think that you can do it right away. It does take practice. And professional graphic artists, it takes them a long time also to master this. But basically, these are your drawing tools. And you're going to use this a lot. Now, what I want to show you are some hints as to how to add a point, delete a point, and then we're going to talk about how you use edit points. Again, you're in edit points mode up here. When you open the program, you're normally in this default design mode right here. And see, this is how your drawn object looks. You'll see the normal handles on the sides and on the corner. But if you want to go into edit points mode, just click on your edit points icon there. All right, now let me zoom in on this object so you can see it a little bit better. I can anywhere along any of the line segments, and let me just move that out so you can see that. I'm going to pull on these handles. so you can see it a little bit better. Anywhere along a line segment, whether it's a straight segment or a curve, I can create another edit point just by depressing the Control key. And do you see that? Here's my mouse. If I depress the Control key and I approach the line segment, my cursor changes to that plus sign. And if I depress with my mouse, I've just created an edit point. I'll do that again. I'm going to do it right over here. I will depress my Control key and keep it depressed, and then I move my mouse or my cursor closer to the line, and when my cursor changes to a plus sign, then I can depress and click. There. And I created 2 edit points. And then I can move those points. Oh, there, I grabbed the handle. So you can move the point, or you can pull on the handle to create curvatures, or to straighten out a curve into a straight segment, a straight line segment. And this is how you actually start drawing. Now, if you want to delete an edit point, you do the same thing. Depress your Control key and keep it depressed. And as your cursor approaches the edit point, there you go. Can you see that? The cursor changes to a minus point. Click, and you've just deleted that edit point. I'll do the same thing here. I've got my finger depressed on the Control key. I'm approaching that edit point. My cursor changes to the negative sign, and I click. There. And I've just deleted that edit point. So those are your instructions for manipulating your edit points. Here are some hints. A lot of times you're going to have edit points that are close together, and sometimes they're going to be difficult to grab. Use your zoom command to get a close-up view of that object that you're trying to change. Also, what you should do is sometimes it's easier to move the point, and that will make it easier for you to grab the handle. So you're just going to have to practice, because sometimes these handles are really almost on top of the point, and it's difficult to grab. So if you have a condition where that point, where that handle is difficult to grab, move the point. Move it one way or another, and sometimes it will reveal the handle a little bit better, and then you can pull on the handle to move that curve. You see that curve? That curve is just changing shape depending on how I move the handle. And I can move it down like that. So that is how you actually start designing. Now, one other thing, I'm going to zoom back out. Here's a little hint. Sometimes you might have a design where you had difficulty filling it with a fabric. I'm going to go back to my normal design mode, and I'm going to highlight the object, and I'm going to try and fill it with a fabric. And it just won't fill. I'm double clicking, or I'm hitting the apply button, and the object, the design, is just not filling with fabric. If you ever have that happen to you, this is what you do. First, fill that design with color. Just go into your Properties tab, open it up. Remember, stick it. I like to stick that Properties window open by clicking on the push pin. Up. And fill that object first with color. Then fill it with fabric. Again, if you ever have an object that no matter what you do, you cannot fill it with color, you cannot fill it with fabric, highlight it, fill it with color first, and then fill it with fabric. What happens is sometimes you might have an object, a design, or an object that is, I'm going to draw one, that may look something like this. Pretend this is a design. And it may have a slight break. Do you see that? It's not completely closed. It might have a tiny, tiny break that you can't even see with your eye. And you try and fill it with fabric, it's just not filling with fabric. Fill it with color first, and then fill it with fabric. There. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you how you can use the drawing tools. I'm going to open up a design. Let me find it. Here we go. All right. Now, this is a design or photo where, it's filled with furniture. A lot of times our customers will ask, gee, can we change the wall color? Well, you can't change it on the photo per se, but what you can do is you can draw on the photo and then fill your drawn objects with color. And I'm going to open up my Layers window. Now notice you can have your Properties and your Layers window open at the same time. And what you can do is basically you can take a photo of a room, you can draw on top of it, and end up with something like this, where you can fill that room with wallpaper, you can put in some flooring, and basically you've covered up all of that furniture. Now how do you do it? You do it with layers. And this is why layers and edit points really go hand in hand. Now how do you do it? Let me show you what I did on this design here. And we're going to take it from scratch. You can take your photo. Now I've got the photo in this instance on the first layer here, and it is locked. I can't grab that photo with my mouse, and that's what you want to do. Then I use the drawing tools, and I'm going to reveal my walls here. You see, I use the drawing tools to draw in the architectural detail of the room. And then I could apply windows and a treatment. But this allowed me to create the walls and the detail so that I could literally draw right on top of that photo. Now let me show you how to do it. And due to time, I won't be able to finish it, but I can show you how to begin. So I'll just start with a new canvas here, and I'll insert that photo. All right, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit better. Here we go. This is my first layer, and again, I lock it. Lock that layer. I'll add a new layer, and I'll start drawing on layer 2. And what I'll do is I'll use my drawing tools. Now, normally I like to use the cubic Bezier because the cubic Bezier will allow me to make curves. But in this case, because it's walls, I'm going to use the Polygon tool here. And I can just start drawing my wall right here. And I'm just clicking every time I hit a corner or an angle. And you know what? I'm just going to draw the top half. There. Now, I need to see through that wall. So I'm going to go into my properties window up here, and I'm just going to make it more translucent. Do you see that? Now I can see through the wall. And I can do the same thing with the bottom portion of the wall and with the molding. I just take, this time I'll take my Polyline. I didn't have to. I could have used the Polygon. I'll double click. Again, it did not fill automatically because it's a tool that does not fill automatically. If I want to fill it with color, I can just click on the color button right there. There. Same thing. I want to make it translucent so I can see through it. Then I can actually draw in my molding. You know, I would want to draw in a line here for the corner of the room. Oops, I let go too soon. There you go. Now, just an FYI, the line tool does draw thicker than your other drawing tools, and I can change this to the same stroke width. There. So this is how you start using your drawing tools to draw architectural detail. And then when you're done, you can start filling them with color or wallpaper or, you know, other textures. And you can do the same thing, draw over the floor down here. And you know, it's really wonderful because then it gets rid of the furniture in the room. And it does give you the ability to add your own color and your own furniture. So that is using your drawing tools, and that is using your layers. It would be virtually impossible to do this without using layers and without locking down that first layer, which is your photograph. Otherwise, you know, you'd always be accidentally grabbing that photo. So that is a wonderful combination of using your layers and your drawing tools. Okay, now in the next section, we're going to actually use the Edit Points feature to modify designs.